My final guest tonight is one of the most remarkable figures to emerge from the colourful and often bizarre world of rock music. Semi-crippled by polio at the age of 7, he didn't stop performing until he was over 30 and only achieved fame at 35. Since then, he has amused, entertained, and of course outraged people throughout Britain with his unique songs and equally unique performing style. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Dury. Ian, welcome.
Hello.
When in fact, I mentioned there that you were crippled as a child. When in fact did you get polio?
1949. 7 years old I was.
7?
Yeah.
And how in fact did it affect you physically?
Down the left-hand side, really. It got me all over. And then I was in the plaster for about 3 months with the bandages, half a plaster and bandages. And then the leg got out, the right leg got out first, and then my right arm got out. And it stopped there. So this hand actually never got... So it's more or less all over me, but it stayed more down the left.
You were 7 at the time, and you've been on holiday, haven't you? Been in a swimming bath.
Yeah, I went to Southend.
Southend.
Swimming.
Yeah.
And then I went down to my granny's in Cornwall, and it takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks to come up on you, incubate, I think. Yeah. And I was down at my granny's, and I got it then. Yeah.
How did it affect you psychologically?
Well, eventually, I suppose it toughens you up. But at the time, well, first, as a child, I probably didn't realise I had a psychology until I was about 15 anyway. But I didn't really notice that, no, not at first. Nowadays, I'm really screwed up about it.
But you went to a special school, didn't you? I mean, you were obviously made aware from the very beginning that you were different.
Yeah.
What was that like, that special school?
Chailey, that was called. It was quite tough then, because I think the National Health Service didn't begin until... I don't know what was, do you know that? 1948, was it half? About then. I think and I went there about 1950, 50 and a half, 51. And it was still just stopping from being a charity institution to being a properly organised place. So it was a bit heavy there at first, you know, quite a few bits and pieces going on.
Like what? You were in with mentally retarded children too, weren't you?
I believe that then there were 60% of the kids they were all physically disabled, and I think it was 60% of them, 120 boys, were also born with something wrong with their brains as well. Nowadays, I believe it's more like 30% are like that, and still all physically disabled. Now, I mean, it's for the thalidomide children, a lot of them went there to Chailey, and it was girls over one side of a common, and boys on this side, and we never really saw each other at all. Now I think it's more co-educational, more sensible, and they've got a swimming pool and stuff. Then it was a bit of a roughhouse, really. It was good for you. It was good for your spirit and good for your toughening yourself up. It's probably very good for your psychology, in fact. We never thought about things like that. We got on... If somebody had 2 calipers on, and you were going to have a fight, the game was you sat next to them, or you were on the floor with 2 calipers. With 1 caliper, you could sit next to them as long as you had one arm and 1 leg. You could sit next to each other on a bench. You'd end up on the floor anyway. Someone there. But I had to have my opponent sitting on my left-hand side. You know? That's no good. Can't get around it. And I remember a geezer called Sedgwick who had 2 calipers and crutches. He went, I don't like you. I went, what's that? He said, I ain't going to tell you. Crash! Let go of the crutches and fall right on top of you. You're underneath him like that, trying to get out of there. Yeah.
What about when you went to... Because you passed the 11 plus, didn't you? And then went on
12
to,
I was.
To grammar school.
I passed a 12 plus.
A 12 plus.
My mum suggested that I should go and get myself an education. By then I was enjoying it there. But the only jobs really that they more like they would teach you to be a cobbler or a carpenter or a printmaker. So my mum thought I should be a lawyer. She turned out wrong actually, but so she got me to take the 11 plus, which I did, and then I got a grant from Essex County Council to go to a grammar school, boarding school in High Wycombe.
How much were you singled out there? I mean,
at first I was the blue-eyed, brown-eyed boy. I had a lot of help and in fact, more help than I needed, and I didn't really. I took advantage rather badly. I felt now looking back. I let them do it. They used to make my bed, or if I fell over, they picked me up. At Chailey, if you fell over, you got yourself up. There were always a couple laying trying to get themselves up. And oh, there he goes. And we weren't too bothered about it. But for a year at Chailey, I got extra well treated. And sorry, not Chailey, at grammar school. And then they realised they didn't like me anymore after that.
Why didn't they like you? Were you rebellious?
I became a bit rebellious as a result of them not liking me. Is my story. They were all grocers' sons and stuff, you know.
You don't like grocers' sons?
I do now, but I didn't then.
And you leave the school in disgrace, or what?
I was allowed back, and then I had a bit of a contretemps with the headmaster's wife over a piece of fish, I believe it was. My friend Spate was sitting there, and I was on the back of the headmaster. There was a boarding school, and the headmaster's house was here. So there was a housemaster in our bit, and the headmaster was over it. But Fridays, when it was fish, the headmaster's wife come in and done the slopping it out on the plates. And I didn't want the fish, it was cod boiled in milk. So I had the potatoes and the sauce with the egg bits in it. I didn't have the other. So she came out, she said, "You haven't had..." I said, "No, I haven't, this is true. I've got my potatoes and my sauce." And she went, "Have a piece of fish," blush like that. I went, "Oh, thank you." Like, oh. And she went away, I gave it to my mate Jack, and he ate it. And she came back and she said, "You haven't eaten fish, have you?" I said, "No." And about 5 minutes later, the whole place went quiet. I'm sitting there, and I could hear the footsteps of the headmaster, big geezer, 6'3" he was. And he went, "Dury, come with me, boy." He was Welsh as well. I went out with him, and I mean, I don't want to really knock the geezer, but he punched me right up in the air, he did. Right
really?
Up, 4 feet up in the air, flush like that, in his study, in private. And there weren't any witnesses, and I didn't know these things then. I should have been a lawyer. And I just kept stum about it, and he threw me out of school. Then he said I'd come back and do my O-levels. See, he'd been very nice to me for 2 years. Then he thought I'd turn into a villain. So I think it was a result of 5 years of aggravation on my part, giving him some. So he gave me some back. So I thought that was a deal. Do you know what I mean? That was fair. I didn't say nothing about it, giving him some. So he gave me some back. So I thought that was a deal. Do you know what I mean? That was fair. I didn't say nothing about it. I could have nicked him, I suppose. I didn't.
You went to art school, didn't you? And you're also at the same time, I think I'm right in saying you were in Soho in that marvellous bohemian time in the 60s.
Yeah, I used to go to Walthamstow Art School for 4 years, and we used to go up to Soho every weekend during the week as well. Mark was at Granby, the Duke of York, Finch's in Goode Street, the guy on Gimbal, the 14, all these incredible, the Cafe Bar down Old Compton Street. That's where the king of the Bohemians used to go.
Who was that?
Ironfoot Jack, he was called.
Ironfoot Jack.
You know, ever heard of him?
No, I never heard of him, no.
Little geezer, about this tall with a Homburg hat, must have been, I don't know, white hair right down, must have been 70 or 80, wasn't he? He used to wear a cape, big black cape, and big silver clasps on here. And on one of his feet, he had like an iron bit come out. That's why they called him Ironfoot Jack. And he never worked, that was his claim to the thing. He was a working boy, he wasn't a posh bohemian at all. And he just said, "Don't work, don't need it, don't do it. All right, have a cup of tea, mate." I'll go, "What?" Amazing geezer. Have you ever heard of him, Arthur? Amazing geezer.
Who were some of the other ones?
Oh, there was Ernie Page.
Ernie Page.
Who supposedly, during the war, went into a cave in Hastings and took every known narcotic drug there is to do, and he took them all. Came out next morning with his hair had gone grey and became an astrologer. And he was bent over double. He was only about 35. He was bent over double like that, with big bags full of astrology books and long grey hair. Amazing. Quite a lot about it, really, then, in those days.
And who else? Can you remember any more come to mind?
Eric Palfreyman. He still is. I saw him with his hand cut about 3 weeks ago.
What about Moody Boy Dave?
Moody Dave Langford, yeah. Look at that Moody Moon up there. Oh, that's a moody motorbike you've got there. And one day, when I was young, I used to do them little they called, little smoking things. You're not supposed to do them anymore.
Strange substances.
He had one in his mouth, a little tiny one. And he went, "Oh, look at that Moody Moon. Look at that. Look. Oh, hold on. It's gone up my nose." And he lost it up his nose. I never saw it again.
Is this where you got involved in music, in this scene?
There were a lot of music. I mean, I think some of the Stones used to hang around that time. Yeah, there were lots of folkies around, the Ballad and Blues Association, Ramblin' Jack Elliott and Long John Baldry, all kinds of people around. And skiffle and doing it yourself. I used to play washball when I was a kid, just around the streets of Soho. I always loved music. Every time I tried to do anything, they told me to leave it out.
I mean, are you very musical, really?
No, not at all.
You're not? I mean, what do you think about this? What do you think about his singing voice?
I think it's terrific, but it's not a singing voice. It's
not
a voice. Really. It's a sprouting voice.
A sprouting?
Sprouting
voice.
Yes.
Well, can you sing a scale with that? I mean, can you?
I can say one.
You say one.
Do, re. Oh no, I can't even say one.
He was after Ray. That's Gary Stoneham. He's probably forgotten.
Okay, I'll give it a go. Like do, re, us, so far, so good. Harry.
let's have a look at this in action. Then this is the #1 hit you had hit me with your rhythm stick. A clip here coming up. I think it was in fact a live concert that was filmed.
Yeah, Granny last year. Yeah, Christmas.
By the BBC. It's coming up now, I think.
2, 3.
Deserts of Sudan and the gardens of Japan, from Milan to Yucatan, every woman's, every man. Hit me with your rhythm stick, hit me, shift and all in liberty. Hit me with your rhythm stick, hit me slowly, hit me quick, hit me. In the wilds of Borneo and the vineyards of Bordeaux, from Eskimo to Arapaho, move their bodies to and fro. Hit me with your rhythm stick, hit me. Das ist gut, c'est fantastique. Hit me with your rhythm stick. It's nice to be a lunatic. Hit me.
Being physically handicapped, has it made it difficult for you to succeed in the music business? I mean, were there some barriers?
No, never. No. I think probably somebody who's a small amount of talent as I got, it's probably helped me actually. Really, people sometimes come along afterwards after a gig and say, "You're putting it on." I'll go, "You should Coco," like that. And it's never hindered me. I think I think it's probably allowed a bit more warmth to come my way, actually.
You're currently involved, of course, doing work for the in the Year of Disabled, for disabled people. Bit. Yeah, well, you do quite a lot, actually. I mean, tell us exactly how much you're involved.
Well, I don't really think I did very much at all. But if somebody asked me to do something that I can do or that they think I can do, I do it. Basically, next year we're going to do a tour around England called Not the Year of the Disabled, just to establish we've got another year going next year as well. We haven't done any gigs at all for it. So next year we will. I've been telling everybody that Pamela Stevenson's going to announce it for us. Because like not the what you call it?
Yeah, not the news.
Yeah, and we should do like 40 or 50. Get a lot of requests to do actual concerts. One was for deaf people, which is with a kind of special receiver on the ceiling, so they can work with their hearing equipment better. There are loads.
What's the greatest problem, though, Ian, do you think it is with disabled people that they face? Is it public ignorance about them, or what?
No, the greatest problem is their disablement, and the second greatest problem is probably equal with a million problems. It's very difficult to specify what a problem. For somebody like me, you can get about, who can speak, who can hear, who can see, everything working more or less. It's no problem at all, really, if I can do what I want to do. But somebody who's in a wheelchair with, say, a very spastic person, who can't speak even, who can't even communicate like you and I can just across here, I would think then the problem would be extreme loneliness. Many spastic people have very highly developed brains, and loads go to university, more and more all the time. It's getting easier. I mean, basically, we know it's getting easier because probably 20 years ago, half of the people who are living now disabled would be dead. They wouldn't have even made it this far. I got saved, my life was saved, no doubt, by doctors. And medical science is improving, and the silicone chip is improving things for everybody. And I even saw a thing in I think the firm you work for, Sunday Times used to work for, was a guy with a monkey, with a trained monkey. Did you see that?
No.
And he could push a button, and a light would come on the fridge. And the monkey would go across to the fridge, open the fridge, and a light would come on the bottle of milk. He'd push another button, the monkey would get him a bottle of milk. Here, mate, here's your bottle of milk. And the monkey had to have a power pack on his back in case he was naughty, so to give him a push, another push, and, do you know what I mean? Whack him. But amazing what they can do. And it's getting more and more easy, and less lonely. But it's still, that's the main, I imagine the worst thing for somebody who's very, very severely disabled is loneliness. I heard that some of the special schools or special places that kids have to go, or adults even have to go, the most difficult thing is that during the week, even though they might be under fairly severe circumstances, it's the weekends because the staff go out for the holidays. And they're not really overstaffed, they're desperately understaffed. And the weekends are really, really lonely. And there's a lot of voluntary, willing people to come, who want to come forward and help. There isn't really an organisation to get ordinary, you know what wheelchair people call normal people?
What?
Call them walkie-talkies. And there ain't enough walkie-talkies to come and do the business with, and yet the will and everything, there are enough, but the organisation isn't organised yet. That's what I'm trying to say.
You said it very, very well. I'm sorry I didn't bring you in. I just got sort of very interested in the subject.
Sorry.
Sadly, we've got to close now because, well, no, it's for the best possible motive. It's to see two big heavyweights knocking hell out of each other.
Oh, terrific.
Scrambling their brains, you know. I mean, that's... anyway, to pay our licence fees for, I suppose. Arthur Scargill, Diana Dawes, and Ian Dury, thank you very much indeed. A reminder, we're going to talk about the postcard competition. We've run out of time. We'll have all these boring postcards on Wednesday and next Saturday when we'll announce the winner. From all of us here, until Wednesday, a very good night. Good night.